Welcome to the GCN Racing News Show. Coming up this week, we round up the National Cyclo-cross Championships. The first national road champions of the season were crowned in Australia. We also have the Paris-Nice route announcement and the Tour de France wildcard teams to go with it. This past weekend, it was time for everyone to head home for their respective national cyclo-cross championships. With the World Championships only 3 weeks away, this for many was an opportunity to seal their place for Switzerland. As always, there was much focus on the two most dominant nations in the sport, the Dutch and the Belgians. In Belgium, Sana Kant took the national title for the 11th time. In fact, 11 seems to be the number of the week. In Luxembourg, Bull Dolman's Christine Majerus took the title there for the 11th straight year, while down in Italy, Eva Lechner managed the same feat, taking the title ahead of Alice Maria Arzuffi. Laurent Sweeck will wear the coveted Belgian national champions jersey for the first time as an elite. He now has the full set, having stood on the top step of the podium as a debutant, a junior, and twice as an under-23. For the Dutch, looking at how the women's elite races have for the most part been dominated by the Dutch this winter, it was going to be quite a race. In the end, it was a first elite title for Alpecin Fenix rider Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, while defending champion Lucinda Brand had to settle for bronze behind Anna-Marie Worst. Alvarado is expected to announce today on Monday if she'll forego the under-23 championship at the Worlds in favour of a crack at the elite title. The way she's going this season, it could be a good move if she does. Mathieu van der Poel, not surprisingly, took the men's title with Lars van der Haar and Joris Nieuwenhuis taking second and third respectively, so no shock there then. Tom Pidcock retained his British title with silver for reigning world junior champion Ben Tullett. Pidcock's teammate Cameron Mason gave Scotland something to cheer about as he stepped up to take the bronze medal, really showing the progress he's made this season. Anna Kay went into the British champs as favourite, but it was sometime GCN Racing co-commentator Beth Crumpton who led for most of the race, only for teenager Harriet Harnder to come through and snatch the title. Kay took the bronze. Elsewhere, Marcel Meissen took his 5th German title, while Elizabeth Brandau retained her stripy jersey for the 4th time. Pavla Havlikova won for the 7th time in the Czech Republic, something she did for the first time in 2008. AG2R Le Mondial's Clément Venturini was the victor in France, while Expersa's Maria Norbert Riberola, after a great season so far, will now wear that distinctive French national champions jersey as she pushed 5-time champion Caroline Manny into the silver spot. Exciting Spaniard Felipe Orts wheelied across the line to retain his title, while Lucia Gonzalez Blanco took gold for the first time since 2013, having come second 5 times since 2015. The Swiss Cross Championships ended on Sunday afternoon in Baden-Württemberg with a brilliant elite race for the men. Lars Forster celebrated his 3rd championship title in great weather in front of a huge crowd of spectators and relegated defending champion Timon Röhrk to silver. Nicola Rohrbach won the bronze. The women's race ended with a surprise victory in only her 3rd cyclo-cross race for the European and World Junior mountain bike champion Jacqueline Schneebeli, who started as an under-23 and took the elite title. In other cross news, Belgium has confirmed 7 riders for the World Cyclo-cross Championships, including Wout van Aert. He'll be joined by Toon Aerts, Laurent Sweeck, Elisabeth Michael van Torenau and Tim Berlier. The last spot is still open, but you've got to say that Quentin Hermans deserves that after a stellar season so far. In the same weekend as the Cross Nationals, we've also seen the first national road champions crowned in Australia. First up with the time trials and an official Team Ineos debut for world champion Rowan Dennis. His biggest rival for the green and gold jersey would be the reigning champion Luke Durbridge. Only 0.3 of a second separated the two at the halfway mark, but Durbo ignited the turbo in the latter stages to win by a convincing 18 seconds, with Chris Harper taking the 3rd for his new team, Jumbo-Visma. In the women's event, it was the reigning national road champion Sarah Gigante who continued to show her incredible promise. At just 19 years of age, she went on to add a maiden national time trial title to her palmarès, 9 seconds ahead of last year's champion Grace Brown, with Emily Herfoss in 3rd. Amanda Spratt finished just off the podium in 4th, but her best was to come for her at Sunday's road race. Mitchelton Scott blew the race apart early, with Grace Brown launching an attack on the 3rd time up Mount Buninyong, a move which only Spratt and Justine Barrow of Rotsong Atakur could follow. It turned out to be a decisive move. The trio gained over 6 minutes on the splintering peloton, and in the end it was Spratt who has the legs to power away from Barrow on the finish straight to clinch her 3rd national title. It was a Super Sunday all round for Mitchelton Scott as Cameron Mayer became the first rider to win all 3 Australian Road National Championship titles available: Criterium, Time Trial, which he's won twice, and now the road race. It was Mayer and teammate Callum Scottson who bridged to the group of leaders with 4 laps to go, and it soon became clear that it would be a small group contesting the win. With Mitchelton Scott well represented at the front and looking to take control of the race, after a long-range attack from Lucas Hamilton was nullified as they came round for the bell lap. Mayer made his move on the final climb quickly, building an unsurmountable lead that he'd hold all the way to the finish. It's a race he's been trying to win for 12 years, and after coming so close last year, you can see how much it meant to him when he finally crossed the line first. Well done, Cameron, you are our GCN Rider of the Week. In other news, the 2020 Paris-Nice route was unveiled last week. It follows a similar pattern to previous years, with the early stages exposed to the unpredictable March weather. A short time trial on stage 4 to Saint-Amand-Montrond, and the inclusion of the Col de la Combien on stage 7, which incidentally will feature on stage 2 of this year's Tour de France. The Race to the Sun will finish with a traditional stage starting and finishing in Nice. But with this year's Tour de France starting in the city, there is, perhaps, increased attention on this year's edition. Team NTT announced last week they had entered into a partnership with Virtu Cycling, the company of Bjarne Riis. While it's not clear what his role will be within the team, it will certainly be interesting to see if he can turn around the fortunes of a team that has clearly underperformed in the last couple of years. Virtu, of course, had run one of the most successful women's teams last season, but that closed due to them not being able to find a sponsor. Nairo Quintana will be breathing a huge sigh of relief after the announcement that his Arkea Samsic team will be one of the 2020 Tour de France wildcard teams. B&B Hotels are the second team, while it's really good news for the home nation that in total 6 of the 22 teams will be French. When she made her much anticipated return to cyclocross, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot just didn't look her usual self. After announcing that she needed another surgery on her iliac artery, something she had done last year. She tweeted from hospital to say that she'd had her surgery and was now on the mend, but didn't confirm how long her recovery period is expected to be. Last year, having had both legs operated on, it was 4 months out. Another rider in need of surgery is Marianne Vos. After finishing 5th in this weekend's Dutch cyclo-cross championships, her CCC Live team announced in a press release that Vos, after a 2019 season that saw her take an incredible 19 races on the road, was ending her cross season early to have an operation on what they described as a nod in the artery in her groin. The operation is expected to take place on Thursday, and Marianne said in the press release, "If everything goes to plan, I can burden my body again in 6 weeks after the procedure. In cooperation with the team, I'm working on a recovery process in order to achieve my goals on the road this season. However, the successful operation has top priority at the moment. We wish, of course, Pauline and Mariana both speedy recoveries." Remco Evenepoel is set to make his Grand Tour debut at the Giro d'Italia. At 20 years and 3 months when the race gets underway in Hungary, he will be the youngest competitor since Danny Martinez rode it for Villiers Southeast a few days after his 20th birthday in 2016. And if Evenepoel were to win a stage, he would become the youngest Giro stage winner since Nilo Della Fipis way back in 1952. A quick look at what's coming up on the channel this week, and it's a busy one. We'll have live coverage of the Women's Tour Down Under starting on Thursday with daily highlights available too. On Sunday, we also have the Schwalbe Classic Criterium, the traditional prelude to the Tour Down Under. Also on Sunday, we'll get a chance to see the new national champions in action in Nome for the penultimate round of the UCI Cyclocross World Cup. That is available to certain countries in Europe. That's all for this week. See you soon. Bye for now.